This was a very good week. And yeah, I'm saying that about Toqger too. I usually hate Toqger episodes, but not so much this week. And my god, it's full of stars with Garo. Let's start off with the standby of Toqger. Emperor of Darkness is a kid named Zett. We already know this from the previous stuff I discussed previously. Trying to phrase this correctly. He doesn't want... Okay, he does, but not for... I'm trying to phrase this correctly. Shadowline guys finally went to get him. There's enough darkness for him to connect to the world they're trying to consume in the darkness. And Zett hops off the train they put him on to get there and explores the human realm with all its shininess. He sees everything is sparkling, and I think it's the wonder of things that are new that are kind of getting to this, because it seems like there's more to it that we don't know yet. I'm trying to find a correct way to say this, because he's giddy to be in this new world. It's like he doesn't want it to be consumed by shadow. He's lived in shadow all his life, and if it's consumed, then he won't have anything that's different. But the catch-22 for that is he can't survive in the light, which kind of makes sense if you think about it, considering all the shadow line kaijin are monsters. So, but Zett's a normal humanoid, but is weak to the light, whereas they can survive in it just fine. So, what if the Shadow Kaijin only took monster form so they can survive? Now, doesn't that sound like some other thing that I've reviewed before? Yeah, I'm thinking Black RX. The Crisis world was consumed by pollution and loss of resources, so they started building robots and mutating their people and creating supernatural entities in a way to stave off their extinction. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And different biologies and that couldn't accommodate living on Earth without adaptation or adapting the Earth to suit them. So, yeah, that was an odd parallel that I just... Toqger went to an amusement park, which made for an interesting meeting in the end. Wright seemed to have this odd connection with Zett that I don't think is exactly explained. It's like he was entrancing Wright with just staring into his eyes and asking if he sparkled like everyone else did. So I'm thinking he's equating imagination to sparkliness. Thank God there are no vampires. On top of that, it's like I'm looking at the main three of the Shadow line. Nero, Schwartz, and I'm blanking on the Baroness's name. And like they're stuck in these old-fashioned ways, and it's all they know, and it's the only way they can think of changing the world so their emperor can live there and rule over it. And with Greta, we've seen that the Baroness is putting up these expectations for her that she doesn't exactly want to live up to, as in Greta hasn't lived up to, which ironically culminates in this episode with her running away. So we might see some payoff with that, but it's interesting in that it's considering the childish themes of adults are doing these things that are smothering and killing all these good things and saying it's for the best, which I don't exactly agree with 100%, but I understand the reasoning to it. And kind of continues to validate my theory that imagination is not actually the driving force of this stuff, it's childishness that's just manifested as, or misconceived as, imagination, because there really hasn't been a lot of imagination in this series, is my point. Yeah, I really don't have a lot for this episode because it was good. There's less for me to complain about. It was pretty much setting up the main villain, which doesn't always appear at the beginning, and also the Toqger get their asses handed to them by the three generals. I know that's usually normal for Sentai series to have the generals kick their asses, just that we haven't seen that in a while. I mean, Damaras in Gokaiger, but that was episode or two before he got killed, and the rest of them pretty much no. Goseiger had a bit of the battles, but most of them were with Bajira, or Blade Run, and Juzo might qualify from Shinkenger. But yeah, they get their asses handed to them quite easily, and it's due to Zett's intervention that they aren't just straight up killed, because he's forming this connection with them in that he's not a typical Sentai villain, in that he doesn't actually seem evil, he's just different, and those differences make the normal realm and the shadow realm incompatible. We don't know why the Shadow Realm is... we don't know why the Shadow Realm is invading yet. Just that their goal for right now was getting the Emperor there. So, I'm honestly curious on that reason. So, I still think the show is bad, but they have a chance of turning it around. I mean, I reviewed Jetman. I didn't like the first half of Jetman. It took a while for it to get approaching good. So, from this, it gives evidence that Toqger might still be able to turn itself around. I just said that. End of the episode. Everyone but Wright is affected by the next Shadow Kaijin, which is Lamp Shadow. I use it as a black light, which makes sense. To blind everybody but Wright to the shadow line, which means he may have zapped them of their imagination because they were talking like they were monotone. Bueller. On to Gaim. The betrayal happened. Betrayal! Had to do that. So, it opens pretty much with Kota going back and giving good news and that TakaTora's willing to work with them. Doesn't get his last name. Damn it, Kota. Should have gotten his last name, because then he could have nailed Michi. And yeah, Michi doesn't get his comeuppance, far from it, because Kaito decides to be an asshole. Why is it that every character named Kaito I know of is an asshole? And Kite from Dot Hack doesn't count, though it should, because every Tokusatsu Kaito, anyways. So, yeah. TakaTora Batta, I need to stop doing that, is actually positive, because he thinks this new route is going to save people. Like I said in the last few episodes, he was only a villain because he was going to kill people to save the rest. He was making hard decisions, and he was viewing Kota's naive viewpoint as an option that he can't afford. Now, with the potential of the overlords, he could afford it. Except, yeah, everybody else on his side is out for themselves. And in that respect, TakaTora is Kota after he's given up in a way, because he's still putting everything forward to the options and solutions that will result in the fewest casualties. It's the Archer versus Shiro, reality versus idealism arguments of two people with the same aspects to them. But yeah, he gets betrayed when he takes the Energy Riders and Mitsuki to search for the Overlords. And he's attacked by them one by one. First, it's Sid, who we know is an asshole and out for himself with everything he's done. Then by Yoko, who he's honestly surprised by, but we've seen Yoko as a wild card for a while now with how she fights, in that she's still the best damn fighter out of them, without even before her powers. And then we finally get Ryoma's Henshin. Now, it's 28 episodes of this series. He was introduced 14 episodes ago, more than, and this is the first time we've actually seen him transform on screen. He's appeared as Duke 2, possibly 3 times before, but we've never seen a full-shot transformation for him. It's either been in silhouette or off-screen, so congratulations, Ryoma Sengoku. You have joined the We've Now Seen Your Transformation Sequence club. So yeah, they attack they attack TakaTora and hit him with a, they hit him so hard his belt falls off, and they drop him to his death. Except we don't see it. Now, if you don't know Tokusatsu, if you go off screen but aren't seen dying, there's a good chance you survived. It's happened before. And my bet, I'm calling it now, he still has his Sengoku driver. It would make so much sense for him to still have the Sengoku driver and the normal melon lock seat, so he just transforms out of sight. And that's how he will return. Nah, I'm just pulling that out of my ass, but it would make so much sense if that was the case. But here's the point of contention. Michi watched the entire thing. TakaTora, after dropping out of rider form, saw him and yelled him to run, get help. Michi did nothing. He just stood there until TakaTora died, and took the belt. He did it to break Kota, of course. See, through the first half of the episode, he was praising Kota for giving him renewed hope, and this is the wrong thing to do in front of Michi because he's a jealous, self-centered, sanctimonious asshole. Kaito was being kind when he called Michi a coward, and it's true from what we've seen. He hides himself. He lies. He's not being strong. He's not seeing the truth as something that's strong, and facing the truth is a show of power in some respects, and delusion is not strength. Imagination is not strength. It's again that contradiction of watching Toqger and Gaim right after each other. And so he's doing all these things because he thinks it'll get him on top and have more power, and it's just alienating him more. And I think that thing with my last episode about "Do you see me?" and her not getting it is part of this descent into madness for him where he's realizing that hiding away never got him what he wanted, and he's not realizing yet that that all of his actions are still doing this. And I think he's joined the camp of people everyone that wants to see die, like Sasuke Uchiha, or I'm trying to think of another one from a show where the really bad guy doesn't die. I'm looking at my shelf and I'm blanking because most of the stuff I have a copy of the bad guy. Oh, no, that's a spoiler. Can't talk about that one. But yeah, Michi takes the Genesis driver, TakaTora's Genesis driver, and uses the melon energy Shin Zangetsu form to fight Kota. Now, from Baron's example, the melon energy arm should have overlaid the normal Ryugen undersuit, but it doesn't. I think it's because it was already locked to a user profile, but the Genesis drivers are like the mass production Sengoku drivers. They don't, aside from creating a suit, they don't lock to a specific designation, and the Shin Zangetsu suit was imprinted by the original Sengoku Zangetsu suit, so once it imprints, it's not going to change. Whereas Kaito's Genesis driver was a new imprint off of something that already existed, so it's exactly like what happened with the Shin Zangetsu form. That, and out of universe, they didn't want to make just another dedicated energy arms for Ryugen. Plus, it would fail this this betrayal to Kota and his everything's coming up Kota that he was having, because he also got a job at Druppers, the shop that they most frequent. So that subplot that's lasted throughout the series has finally come to a potential conclusion. Yay. At least it's not crowding up the backstory, because part of his job is protecting Zawame. Yeah, his boss has been about this the entire time, so he can give him the opportunity to go off and save things. Best job. Best job. Anyways, while on the job, Michi plans an ambush, except Kaito is there and saw it coming because Kaito's an asshole, he's not stupid. Yeah, we can pretty much tell now that he let Ryoma and the rest use him to get more power, see the potential there, and yeah, the side of Yggdrasil is full. Yggdrasil's faction is full of betraying assholes. So Kaito just played one on them. And part of that is that he knows it's Michi in the Zangetsu suit. It's so obvious to him, because it still has Michi's mannerisms, and this is stuff that Kaito picks up. So when not Zangetsu attacks Kota, Kaito's there to intervene, and Kaito doesn't understand it because Kota doesn't understand it because, okay, he's not stupid, but he is kind of naive. There's a difference between stupid and naive. Naive is not wanting to accept something, except, there's one obvious thing. You beat him down, and then you ask why. And you stop him from attacking you, and he almost gets there. He actually does almost get there, and Michi does the other Lockseed thing. He's done that more now than every other beat writer. Every other person that got a Lockseed to use it for their own personal gain, and with actually summoning invests, he's now done it more than anyone else shown on screen. Even Kaito, who was the one who did it first in the Rider Armor. he's a minion user, and it's right. Kaito's right. He doesn't dirty his hands directly. He wanted TakaTora dead. He waited until someone else did it. And he thinks that that's keeping himself clean. No, that makes it even worse, because he doesn't. That's the coward thing again. He doesn't have the courage to confront these people on his own. He just wants to keep playing his role and, oh, I didn't do it. These other things did it. And that makes him all the more despicable, and I'm ironically loving this descent into madness, because it's so much more done that we're supposed to be hating him, instead of, like, again, Sasuke Uchiha, where that was never the intent of the writer, or to hate this character he actually made the show about. Episode ends. Yeah, I said the betraying thing. Sid destroys the Yggdrasil crack and dives in himself. I'm assuming the Genesis drivers have the same function like the Sengoku driver of using prevalent lock seeds in subsistence for foods, because now we got another faction. So right now it's Sid and Ryoma hunting for... Sid, Yoko, and Ryoma hunting on their own for the forbidden fruit. Sid actually a bit ahead because the crack is destroyed. Kaito wanting to fight the overlords because they're strong. Michi wanting to kill Kota because Kota is getting everything that he ever wanted but never seemed to work for. Kota wanting to defeat the overlords because... well, not exactly defeat. Negotiate with the overlords to find a solution to the invasion. Hideyasu and Orin, who are just shuffled off screen. Same with Zack, who are pretty much just the defense team that aren't actively fighting the overlords, and TakaTora, who is currently MIA. Now, we're supposed to get some details about the overlords soon, so I'm looking forward to that. I really am. On to Garo. Raing's back, or really Raing's actor. Raing is from Zero Black Blood. Thane Camus. Oh my god, I am now a fan of this guy. I want to see more. I want to see more of him. I do. He is deliciously creepy, and it's all with smiles on his face. And it's menacing. It's fantastic. I can't even really put into words. He is like great, and wow. I'm amazed how much English was in this episode, because Thane Camus is not Japanese. Yeah, he's bilingual, but there's a lot of flowing dialogue in this that I think the writers really had fun with this, because it's... The Stars thing was the horror Thane plays is named Stella. Stella! And it's, of course, full of stars. He turns things into stars and eats them. He's obsessed with the stars, and his monster forms is out of that of a meteorite. Yeah. We get Crow back, and his name's a pun. Kuro, as in Kuro, and the RO ending means he's another Makai Knight. It confirms it, at least, because all of the Makai Knights, to my knowledge, end in Ro. I'm Garo, Zero. I'm betting more of the characters from the series I haven't seen that are Makai Knights would probably show up to be true. He can fly. Yeah, his armor form has the ability to gain wings, which I actually kind of liked the animation for that. It was... The CGI of this episode was not as good as previous ones, but it wasn't... I've seen worse, but... wasn't what I was expecting. So yeah, Crow joins the cast, officially, this episode. And he's different. It's obvious now that he's a newbie, or newer, to the full Makai Knight status. And it explains his pseudo-hero worship when he last appeared a few episodes ago. But we got a good showcasing of his skill set in that he's a tracker, he's a shadow, he's effectively a modern shinobi. In that, while Garo shines in the darkness, for lack of a better term, he works from the sidelines and from above. It's one of his things is Makai partner, the talking trinket. He can transfer it into a shuriken-like thing and have it track down through the area quickly, that was a good sequence. And then he gets to most of the fights with Stella to showcase his abilities, even though Garo has the final strike to it. Not much development with Mayuri, just showcasing a related thing to the monster, Meteor Shower, which kind of makes sense that the monster would reappear when its obsession is most prevalent. But I'm noticing now that with these arcs, they're kind of shoehorning in exposing Mayuri to some elements of humanity or things from the human point of view that I think is going to grate on me, but they've not been used badly as of yet. I think that's pretty much all I have for this week. Oh, and this will be going back up Blip. This will be the first of these vlogs I post on Blip. Hi, Blip audience! Because, yeah, Blip account. I'm all caught up on that. Still gonna post on Dailymotion, so not going away, Dailymotion audience! Yeah. Oh, and I changed my room around, so get used to this new look of the vlog set.